Gumake, Lexie Brown's not okay with it. Lexie Brown took it upon herself to stand up and speak out on behalf of a lot of people who might have been afraid to. And you got Breanna Stewart talking about she don't believe.
So right now in the brutal world of billion-dollar sports business, we're witnessing something absolutely wild. When a labor union starts eating itself alive from the inside, that's the moment you know the rank-and-file members have figured out their own leadership isn't actually fighting for them anymore. They're protecting their personal bank accounts instead.
Its own players that it's representing. Lexie Brown is not happy with the moves that Breanna Stewart has been pulling. Nafisa Collier and Nneka Ogwumike. Lexie Brown's not okay with it. Lexie Brown.
For months now, the WNBA Players Association has been putting on this perfect show for the cameras. They've been selling the story about unity and sisterhood, waving around their strike votes like weapons, trying to convince team owners that every single player was ready to walk away from the 2026 season without blinking.
In a near unanimous vote. Now, that let it be known, it's very clear there are a lot of people, players, who are fine with the numbers and with the offer that the WNBA has sent, who want to sign and move on.
But here's what's really happening as we get closer to that March 10th deadline. The owners played their cards perfectly, and now the union is imploding. Locker rooms across the league are turning into war zones. The players who actually depend on their WNBA paychecks just to pay rent are now openly rebelling against an executive committee that's completely lost in their own greed and ego trips.
By the proposed deadline. This is what she was quoted as saying. "I don't know," Stewart told Fox Digital after a long, thoughtful pause. "I don't know if a deal gets done by March 10th. Part of me wants to say yes, but part of me is like, negotiations have been really slow going back and forth. There needs to be some serious movement within the next week."
This is about to get messy. We're talking about Lexie Brown leading an internal revolt, Breanna Stewart sitting on the most obvious conflict of interest in sports history, and the insane math behind the Caitlin Clark money grab that these veterans are desperately trying to pull off.
Negotiated. The PA is asking for gross, and the league, the WNBA, is asking to deal in an SBI, which is shared basketball income, where you negotiate how much money goes into that pot and that's shared to the player.
To really understand just how bad this situation has gotten, you need to see what sparked this rebellion. In every corporate meltdown, there's always that one person who finally says what everyone's thinking. For the WNBA, that person is Lexie Brown. Braun isn't some superstar making millions off endorsement deals. She's the heart of what this league actually is. A skilled professional athlete grinding on an older contract, just trying to secure her future before her playing days are over. And she just completely torched the union's entire strategy by calling out the executive committee's incompetence. When Lexie Brown steps up and directly names Breanna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and Nneka Ogwumike, that's not just criticism. That's a full-scale declaration that the leadership has lost the locker room. She's basically telling them, you don't speak for me, you don't speak for the middle-class players, and your demands are so unrealistic that you're going to get our season canceled just to feed your egos. By going public like this, Braun became the voice for all the players who've been quietly panicking behind closed doors for the past 2 months. And their panic isn't some vague worry. It's based on the actual numbers from the owner's latest offer. The executive committee keeps telling everyone that the owner's proposal is insulting and disrespectful, but the regular players actually read through it. They saw the guaranteed salary bumps. They saw that owners agreed to cover housing costs for every player next season. When you're making $90,000 a year, free housing in an expensive city is absolutely life-changing money. Here's the reality of what's happening in those locker rooms right now. Players are looking at this offer and thinking it's actually pretty good. They want to sign the deal and move forward. Instead of being mad at the billionaire owners, they're calling their own union reps greedy. That right there is game over for the union's negotiating power. The owners don't even need to make another move. They can just sit back and watch the players tear each other apart. Middle-class players are screaming at the executive committee, asking why they should reject guaranteed money and free housing just to go on strike for some theoretical revenue share that might never actually happen. These working players have figured out they're just pawns in a fight between billionaires and millionaires. And the most infuriating part is how casually the union leadership is treating this whole situation, while the rank-and-file players are terrified of losing everything. Look at Breanna Stewart's attitude through all this. She's not just the league's best player and a multimillionaire, she's literally the co-founder of Unrivaled, that new 3-on-3 winter league. Think about how insane that is. The vice president of the WNBA Players Association actually owns a competing basketball league that operates completely outside the WNBA. When reporters asked Stewart about that terrifying March 10th deadline that's giving regular players nightmares, listen to how detached she sounds. She just casually says she doesn't know if a deal gets done, mentions that negotiations are moving slow, then basically shrugs it off. That pause, that casual indifference, tells you everything. Stewart can afford to play chicken with the owners because she's completely protected from the consequences. If the WNBA cancels the 2026 season, Stewart doesn't lose anything. She just focuses more on her own league, keeps cashing her endorsement checks, and maintains her lifestyle. She's perfectly willing to gamble with everyone else's careers because it's not actually her money on the line. Meanwhile, players like Lexie Brown don't have a backup league, they don't have Nike deals. If the season gets canceled, their entire income disappears instantly. The working-class players are watching their own vice president dismiss the deadline, knowing that her stubbornness is directly threatening their ability to survive. The union leadership wants the middle-class players to sacrifice their careers for a revenue-sharing demand that's mathematically impossible. This brings us to the core financial dispute that's destroying the league. The sports media won't explain the complex accounting that defines this whole negotiation. They just report that players want 26% and owners are saying no. But the real fight is over how you define revenue in the first place. The union executives are demanding 26% of top-line gross revenue. The owners want to work with shared basketball income instead. This is where the union's leverage completely falls apart. Gross revenue means every dollar that comes in before any bills get paid, television money, tickets, merchandise, sponsorships, everything. If owners agreed to this, they'd be mathematically guaranteed to lose hundreds of millions of dollars personally over the life of the deal. They'd be paying players out of their own pockets before they even covered arena leases, charter flights, and front office salaries. The owners want a shared basketball income model, exactly like the NBA uses. Both sides negotiate which revenue streams count, and owners can deduct operating expenses before distributing money to players. It keeps the league financially stable. The WNBA owners will never sign a contract giving up 26% of gross revenue. They'd rather shut down the franchises and walk away from basketball entirely than sign what amounts to a corporate suicide pact. The most ironic part of this entire standoff is what financial engine the veteran leadership is trying to hijack. The WNBA Executive Committee spent last season targeting Caitlin Clark, complaining about her media coverage, and openly attacking her fan base. Now they're aggressively trying to extract maximum payouts based entirely on the economic explosion she created. They called Clark's fans toxic and racist, said they were unwanted in their ecosystem. But when television networks handed the league a $2.2 billion check specifically because of those same fans, these veteran players sprinted to the front of the line demanding 26% of the money. They hated the attention Clark received, but they're absolutely addicted